Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast. I'm your host, Doomcutie, and today we have just Ellie.
Just me. Sucks to be
Ellie.
you guys. You gotta listen to me now.
Oh, goodness me. Yes, the terrible, what do people call it? Is it PAX, pox, or
PAX,
like
pox.
Yeah.
Any sickness you get from PAX, pox, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that seems to have wiped a few people out, including our lovely Shaye. So we hope that both herself and her partner Rico are healing, sending healing vibes.
Amen. Yeah.
Praise be. All right. Yeah. Wow. I'm still figuring out what planet I'm on.
Yeah. I'm still unpacking my suitcases, like, honestly.
You know what? If I don't unpack my suitcase like straight away, I will leave it there for like a month if I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good trait to have though, because I think judging from a lot of creators' Instagram pages and stories, we're all just like, oh, I'll get round to it, and then all of a sudden you need your stuff, you need your makeup, you need that one top that's in there, like you're looking for the pairs of shoes, and then you're just throwing shit everywhere. Like you don't need that. You just need to unpack. And I say this like I haven't got 3 bags of clothes on the floor and a whole bunch of tech. My makeup was everywhere. I need to listen to my own advice, but we all know I'm not going to do that.
Honestly, I've never claimed to be a good acceptor of my own advice, but yeah, I mean, I've got a few gems. Got a few gems out there.
I mean, I don't think anyone is particularly. I mean, you give the advice, you don't take the advice, and then someone has to like reword it and then give it back to you. And then you're like, yes, queen, I can do that. I can do that.
Gotcha. This week in gaming, well, I think we should start off with the game that we played at PAX that we liked the most. What tickled your fancy, babe?
Well, I really, really enjoy PAX Rising. I think just looking at all the indie developers is just really, really fun. And it's interesting the psychology behind it, because you know how you go around and I think everyone has certain colors that they look for, because for me, because I'm more of a action adventure horror streamer, I'm not really looking for the pastel blues or the pinks and the purples. Like my eye is drawn to like dark gray or red or black. And as I was kind of walking around, that's what I found myself looking for. Like if I saw something like neon or pastel, I'm like, oh, let me look at the title at least. I don't know. But if I turned and I saw something like dark and mysterious, I was like, that's for me. And that's what happened with the game Blood Reaver. I didn't know the word Reaver was a word until discovering that. But yeah, Blood Reaver. And I got talking to one of the developers, and it was actually really fascinating because he was saying that him and a bunch of his other friends at university created this game for a assignment, and they had a bunch of friends test it, and they kind of came back and they were like, dude, like you have to release this. Like this is really, really good. And they're like, come on then, let's make a company. So then they just made a development company, and then they just released it, and they're at PAX. Like he probably made it sound a lot easier than it was. Yeah. But to know it's just like uni students, and how old are uni students these days? They're born in 2005, like children, probably even less than. Maybe.
Look, I was a mature age student.
Same. So. Well, I think technically is mature age like 30 and above, or is it like 25 and above?
25, yeah.
25 and above. Okay, so I wasn't quite mature age, but I was older than graduates when I started university. So like fair vibes. But anyway, I saw Blood Reaver, and it was a first person skelly wobble kind of raid sort game, horde rush, if you will, and you just shoot some magical weapons at this horde rush. And it's simple, but you know what? I'm a simple gal, and that's what I was drawn to. And just talking to the developers is always really cool. So,
that's probably one of my favorite things. Like there are, look, I'll be honest, like some of the booths that have, you know, the tech at it and the really cool setups, like it's not all, you don't always get to talk to the people who are, you know, really, really invested in the tech, like they're there as, you know, part of the exhibition. Whereas in PAX Rising and in the student area as well, you're always going to get to talk to someone who works on the game, and it's really, really great. So I definitely agree with you there, Ellie. PAX Rising is always fantastic, and I feel like it was a lot more spread out and bigger, so that people, like, I could actually see, like, I could feel that each of the games could shine, which was really, really good. I think you're totally right in regards to the like the signage for and like the coloring from the games, because that is the first thing that you see. And even just like the font, like, or even if it's like it needs to be a high quality graphic almost. And I know that seems kind of rich coming from like, oh well, these aren't like, you know, AAA developers, but like I feel like that first impression is so important.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's what divides you between walking by and stopping, getting invested, grabbing a card. Because sometimes, like, you know, especially Saturday, like Friday is a bit of a better day to look at PAX Rising, because it's mainly either hardcore gamers or like journalists, like people that are working PAX, like, because not everyone could get work off, of course, for the Friday. That is a bit easier to kind of digest when you're in PAX Rising, because there's people everywhere, people surrounding the booths. You can kind of walk up and chat to people, whereas Saturday, you don't really get a chance unless you're happy to wait around. You don't really get the chance. And I quite like watching other people play. That doesn't really bother me. I like to watch people play, and then I'll grab a card and look at the QR stuff, see if it's wish listed, that sort of thing. But I kind of got burnt by last year's PAX when Dead No Evil, something like that. I should remember the name, because the game is actually really, really fun. But they had a massive booth, which they didn't really have massive booths of games this year. Like it was a massive booth, a massive display. I ended up queuing up for 2 hours to try and play. And I didn't realize until I'm like, I'm really hungry. I'm kind of tired. Like, how long has it been? And I looked at my watch and it had been an hour and a half, because I was with friends. Wow. So I was like gas bagging and whatever. But I was so buggered, and I was like, next year I'm not doing this. Like, it's taken 2 hours out of my day to play a game where you're playing for like 4 minutes. I was like, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And not even that I had the chance to, because like I said, they changed it up this year. But I just kind of said to myself, I'm like, unless it looks fantastic, I don't really care to line up if something is a massive, massive wait this year. But just being able to like sneak by past people and grab like a little card and have the QR code, like that's so valuable. And I feel like we almost thank the pandemic for the importance of QR codes, really, because before that, I don't know if anyone really, I mean, maybe they did, maybe people did, but me personally, for my own anecdote, like I didn't really use QR codes, and now they're so easy and you get so much information.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of like QR codes in all situations, whether you're networking or whether I'm, you know, getting a student to, you know, visit a website. Like it's so easy.
So easy.
And you can link all sorts of things, websites, documents, photos, maybe a Rickroll. I don't know, whatever you're into.
Whatever the kids are still doing.
Look, the Rickroll is a classic. All right, I'll stand by that.
I need to know who invented that, because do you remember the meme years and years ago, like easily like a decade, maybe more, the like stick figures, like they're now Kiss, that meme? Do you remember? It's like stick figure ones. Yeah. So, one of the blokes that my friend is friends with, he made that meme, and I thought they were pulling my leg when they first told me, because I went to dinner with the group and they were like, yeah, he created that, and I was like, okay. And he's like, no, legit. And he like pulled up receipts of him making this meme. So now I need to know who was the first Rickroll, or like who created that, and if Rick Astley is okay. I think he likes it. I think from memory he likes it.
I feel like if I was turned into a viral meme, I'd like a cut of whatever those profits are, please.
Surely like the streams went up at the time or whatever, or maybe the Vivo on YouTube. Maybe he's getting cash money from that.
Maybe.
Hopefully. He seems like a nice guy.
I love how we've gone from indie devs to Rick
Astley. Yeah,
it's great. Okay, so my favorite booth was, or favorite game that I played was actually Max Mustard. Now, I am not a VR girl. I don't have a VR. Previous times I have felt like VR just don't really suit with my, I don't know, vestibular rhythm in my ears. Like I'd feel like just really, really out of sync in my body, and it was really an uncomfortable feeling. And I think because maybe I was sitting down. I think that was maybe really, really good.
Yeah, sitting down helps heaps with VR.
Yeah. So there. I put a photo on Twitter and I was like, caption this, because it was just like, it was really, really funny. The team at Toast Interactive are just so lovely, a lovely bunch of guys. And I think just a lot of fun for a lot of different age levels. It reminded me a little bit of, there were some elements of like Astrobot. There was some, I don't know, like, but different. Like it was really, really dope. So, and I can see why it won an award at the international, what was it? Melbourne International Games Week.
Didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so hold on, where is it? They won. I'm trying to remember the category. I should have had this up before. I thought maybe you would know. But they did have what's his name? Yoshida. What's his name? The PlayStation guy come up to his booth.
Yes.
Yeah. So they won an AGDA. So they won, where is it? Excellence in Mixed Reality. So yes, shout out to Ben.
Dang.
Dr. Ben. He's a doctor, you know. Did you know that?
Doctor. That's cool.
Yes, so really, really enjoyed that. Maybe Santa will bring me a VR headset.
I tell you what, I played VR I had played it prior because I tried Half-Life Alyx, because Half-Life, its sequel, was only on VR, which brave move, but I tried that and I liked the graphics. The graphics were really, really cool, but it only took me less than 10 minutes to get really seasick, motion sickness. And I really struggled with that. But I bought, because me and my friend wanted a bit of a horror night, and we were like, are you game for like a VR horror night? And we were like, let's do it. So we got the Dark Pictures Anthology rail shooter, which the first one's called Rush of Blood, and I forget what the second one was called. I've got it, and yet I've forgotten it. And that was really, really cool because you're seated, but it's so trippy because you're literally like on a roller coaster. Like it's not crazy intense where you probably would get a bit like, whoa, what am I doing? But it's like enough that you're kind of like riding with the waves. I don't know how to explain it. And also because I'm a Dark Pictures Anthology dork, like I'm probably one of their biggest fans, you go through all of the game sceneries and it's just like shooting targets and stuff, and you know, you get high scores here and there. But because I'm such a geek, I was like, oh my god, I'm in the Dark Pictures world and I'm seated, so you feel quite secure. And yeah, you go around doing that. And honestly, that's probably one of my favorite games. And I have I borrowed let me start that sentence again. I borrowed the VR headset from a friend, and he was like, oh, do you mind if I get it back? Like, I've got this game to play. And I'm like, that's fine. He's like, have you finished your game? I'm like, you just take it back. I finished it. I wasn't excited about continuing. So I've still got that to go. So hopefully when he finishes his current game, I can steal it on back. But if I'm honest about the future of gaming, give it I mean, technology is hard, but give it 5 to 10 years and everyone will have VR. Like everyone will. So
Well, I've seen like glasses. Obviously there's like the Apple Vision or whatever it is, but like just I think Ray-Ban were like the first one to bring out like the headphone glasses. So and I definitely see like headwear becoming more prominent in the future for sure.
Do you remember the Snapchat glasses? There was that. They were like the Snapchat glasses were a trend like maybe, again, years, 6 to 10 years ago. I don't know, maybe even less than that. That was a thing where you'd put on these like, glasses and they were just round and you could, I don't know, Snapchat, I suppose. But the now is happening where the screens are in front of our eyeballs and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is. I think they'll probably come with like some sort of like protocols in them where you can, adjust the time limits or, whatever, or it'll be able to measure like eye strain or something. I don't know.
Good point.
The future is that, is endless,
It's you're right. It is really hard to even pinpoint or guess where it's headed because like who knew, half the crap that was going to happen. So you just enjoy the ride.
Certainly. Well, we try to anyway. Okay, so that did you play any of like the bigger games? Like there was the Final Fantasy booth.
I saw it. And again, like I just couldn't bring myself to line up. Like I have a really bad back as well. And so standing still for long periods of time like really hurts my back. And it flared up before PAX actually. And I couldn't get into my physio sadly. So even like walking around doing like the 14 to 15,000 steps a day was quite taxing. But not only is Final Fantasy like not really my thing anyway, but like I literally was just like, I just don't want to queue up. I just don't. Did you end up queuing up?
No, I didn't. I found my schedule quite like I don't know, it kind of restricted me like in what I could do because well, maybe it's not the schedule's fault, but the schedule was the baseline, the foundation of everything. And then I found myself everywhere I was walking, I was either getting distracted by something or someone was stopping to, talk to me, and you know what? I'm a yapper, okay? I have a podcast. This is why I'm here.
Oh, totally.
I just couldn't help myself. People want photos and I tried to make it more of a point this year to like actually be like, straight away, hey, like after I check in with them, do you want a photo?
Same. Oh my God, same. Instantly, I was like, photo. Because
otherwise
like I said, exactly, like I've said to you in chats, like PAX is so hectic and literally everyone's brain is like, say hello to this person for like 30 seconds and then I've got to move on. If you don't literally bombard them with a photo right now, you're not going to get a picture with them. And every creator got that though. Like everyone that I finally was able to meet in person that I've been connecting with since last PAX. I'm like, hey, how are you going? Oh my God, it's so cool to see you in person. Photo right now. Take out your phone. And it was also like a bit of like my phone first, then your phone. We don't have the pressure to send the photos to each other. They're pretty much the exact same. But if we do, we do. Like, because one of the creators, Grems, Emma, that I connected with, she said that she was like, I've learned to take photos on my phone as well because you rely on other people sending you photos and everyone is like, totally, I'll send it to you, blah, blah, blah. And everyone just forgets because we're so busy post-PAX because everyone's getting back into like normal life that things just get lost in the wave of it all. So I was like, that is so smart. So I was definitely over the 3 days, the second I saw people I knew and they tapped me on the shoulder, I was like, photo right now. And it was nice because now I have all photos with everyone.
Awesome. Dolphin Pants has written in the chat and I'll share it. So Dolphin Pants was looking for me. He was looking for the third because he'd gotten 2 out of 3. He needed to complete his collection of photos. So he asked me if I was going to the teacher meetup at PAX. And I was like, first of all, how did I miss this on my schedule? So thank you for alerting me to that. And secondly, he really wanted to get that photo. And you know what? When I got in there, it was so well behaved. Like everyone was listening to one person talking, like the leader of the whole thing. And I was like, this is definitely a teacher meetup because it's quiet. And then yeah, I saw him and he was like staying there and I could see it, like he was ready to take his photo, but this person was still talking, being respectful. Anyway, so there, and then yeah, we got a photo. It was really good.
Oh, good. You gotta snap up. You gotta get it. You gotta get it done. Like especially with those meetups, they get crazy.
Someone's also asked a question in the chat, which I would like to make a prediction. How many people do you think attended PAX this year?
I've been explaining to the normies because I work with a lot of normies. They're like, how was PAX? How many people do you reckon go? If we're talking across the 3 days, easily like hundreds of thousands, easily. I would love to know because obviously PAX would know how many physical badges they distributed. So I'm sure we might even be able to find off Kitty eventually. But last year, 200,000?
Last year, 80,000 people attended.
Oh, so I'm way overshooting it. But
I'm not sure because I think it was bigger this year. So maybe
it was huge this year.
Maybe 120.
It was. No, I agree. It was really, really big this year, and I wandered to both to ends, like to end plus the demo hall. I was there all 3 days, like ginormous. But I guess you forget, like, if I'm one person, I'm there 3 days. How many of us are one person and they're 3 days instead of like 3 people over 1, 2, 3 days?
Yes, that's true.
Math, but yeah.
I don't know. It was very paxed. love that. Yeah, look, it would be interesting to compare like the people who just got Saturday badges versus all 3 days. I suppose, having it from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like it's a good idea in regards to lots of different kinds of people can go, depending on their schedules. And also, us geeks, us non-normies, we went all 3 days and we wore ourselves out.
Oh yeah, totally. It was kind of wholesome energy wise though, because last year on the Sunday I was like, I'm done. I'm so done. Like, and it wasn't even like from a hangover perspective. No. I was just like energy wise, like spent. Like I'm spent. But I don't know, this year, I think because I have spent the last year networking so much through obviously COAGG plus my Instagram, because I'm very gaming focused over there now, and my own connections through Quest Daily. It's been fantastic, the amount of people that are so lovely. And I opted not to wear my glasses. So I was a little 480p. Like everyone kind of looked a bit 480p, like it was a bit blurry. And my gaming username obviously is Twerking Queen, and I had never heard the amount of people saying Twerking Queen in my life until going to PAX. I think there was like 6 people on Friday that called out like Twerking Queen, hello. And I was like, oh my God, who just said that? It was really lovely. It was really, really lovely. And I got my like Miley Cyrus superstar moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know who I am. Thank you so much. Thank you. And it was so lovely, and everyone was so, so lovely. I think as women in video games, obviously the industry is still predominantly men. And I do find that you might feel the same, Doom, is our following predominantly is men, because a lot of men are interactive on Instagram. I think women can be quite shy, cliquey. We kind of keep to ourselves. But every gaming woman I've come across is absolutely beautiful. But I just feel like because the market is saturated more with blokes, majority of the people who came up to me over the PAX weekend were men. And I had other women ask me, obviously, I don't know everybody's faces because it's the internet. Some people have their profile pictures as like an icon or a cartoon, or so not themselves. Exactly. Not everyone has Instagram. Not everyone posts themselves on Instagram. So I didn't know everybody. As soon as they said my name or my username, not everyone clicked as to who they were. And so I had a few women ask me, like, did you feel safe in that respect? Because I think if you say to a woman, a bunch of men who you don't know are calling out to you, how do you feel? Like, that's kind of like scary. But do you know what? I felt so respected. I felt so appreciated, and it was so exciting getting to know these people that as soon as they were like, oh, I'm XYZ, I'm like, oh my gosh, like a face to a username. Like, isn't that amazing? And everyone was so kind. We got heaps of photos, like, and I couldn't have asked for better. I mean, everyone builds like such a beautiful community, but I couldn't ask for better people to kind of like notice me. And like I said, I'm 480p. I can barely see people's faces. Like, I'm not necessarily going to be the first person to be like, oh, hey, like, how are you? Yeah. It's more people coming up to me. And I just felt really, really safe at PAX. And I think that's for such a crowded environment, that's a really beautiful thing.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that, Ellie, because I can imagine, people who don't put themselves out there as much as we do, they probably would, feel that kind of way. And like, I think at first, like, it takes you a little minute to like tune in to, okay, so people are going to be saying hello to me. It's okay. But overall, like I mean, I first encountered this last year, and I had people from like the other side of the PAX Rising, Doomcutie, and like I don't say this to like toot my own horn or anything like that, but it's just, if you're extroverted and you put yourself out there and you've supported another person online, and whether it be on Instagram or wherever, like you're going to make that impact on others. And I think it's a really, really beautiful experience, having that IRL, because it means so much. Like, there's actually a number of women who I don't know, for some reason didn't get to see them last year, and then it's like, oh, I can't believe I missed you. And then like throughout this year, continued that relationship, and then it was like I'd met them before. Like, it felt so comfortable, and I think that's what you mean when you say like, oh, it felt safe. Like, you just felt so connected. And I think that is something that's so special in the video game community. We are so grateful that there's another person that has our hobby. And especially as a woman, I like the moment that I hear like a woman plays video games, I'm just like, babe, where, what? Tell me all about it.
Yeah, tell me everything. Tell me all your hobbies.
Yeah. And probably there was a couple of things that really like struck a nerve with me. And one of them was, there was a number of guys that had their partner there or a friend or whatever, and they were like, go, just talk to her. Like, or they're trying to like introduce that woman to me, and I'm like, oh, hi, because usually they'll like they'll kind of sit back in the background, and like, I don't want to, I feel bad, like I don't want to call them out. I won't be like, oh, and you are who, like if a person wants to introduce themselves, they can. I'm not going to force them. But and like, obviously we had our meetup, and the room was filled with mostly people who didn't know about the podcast.
Oh, I would love to know your stance on that, because I have such big, strong feelings about that fact, and I just want to know what you think, and then I would love to share what I think about that fact.
Okay. So firstly, I would like to start with a thank you to PAX and the whole team who were part of putting us out there and allowing us to have a community space within the schedule. It was wonderful. So really, really grateful. My other take on it was, I was humbled by the fact that some women got out of their comfort zone and went to something that they weren't quite sure what it was, and whether they might have brought a friend, or maybe they came by themselves, or maybe they met someone like throughout the weekend because it was on a Sunday, and they came. They either came from, I don't know if they saw other people, but I know a few women came from the Control and Empower panel that I hosted, which was really, really wonderful. Always love doing that panel, and yeah, that was great. But I have a caveat on this, and I feel like this is where we might be vibing on the same level. Now, as much as I appreciate that, first of all, an hour and a half is a long time. So for a meetup, I get that. But for people to come in to simply take a photo and then piss off afterwards, I don't appreciate. For the people who weren't there from the beginning and just wandered in at the last minute without any sort of, I don't know, story to do with that, I was a little bit uncomfortable with that.
Did you think there was many of those folk?
Many of those that
of those people that kind of wandered in after like our presentation and more throughout the chatting part? I wasn't, it was just a couple of things that rubbed me the wrong way, and I've spent a lot of time trying to build this community and trying to get girls to support girls, and it's actually been incredibly hard. And the people that were there and got first introduced to our community, like, wonderful, like, and maybe some people were nervous, and I totally get that because we're like big personalities. I totally get that. And I know a lot of women walked in there thinking that it was just about women in gaming, which it is. I actually didn't want to as part of that meetup, I didn't want to necessarily lean into, this is us trying to get people to watch our podcast or to try whatever. It was just about trying to immerse women in with other women, to marinate together in gaming. So yeah, Ellie, please talk. Yes. Okay. So this is a little secret about Doom, if you would like to know, audience. This is a bit of a secret. Miss Doom loves her numbers. She loves her numbers because she loves the fact...
hate numbers.
She loves to hate numbers. She loves putting her heart and soul into Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast. And so when the numbers come out for absolutely anything, either viewers or entrance of giveaways or entrance to enter the podcast itself, and the numbers don't meet the number in her head, she can get quite down on herself. And it is not needed, because I've seen the numbers, audience. I have seen the numbers and they're bloody fantastic. But Doom just wants to reach the stars, which is beautiful. But I think she holds herself way too high and doesn't celebrate what she's got in front of her, because she's so aspirational, and it's beautiful because she wants to take COAGG to the stars, and that's phenomenal. Your passion is so lovely, but I think sometimes you forget to celebrate what we have. And so when it comes to numbers games, sometimes you can be a bit nervous that we haven't got a high enough number. Me and Shaye are here to keep you down to earth because our numbers are bloody fantastic. Our audience listening live is fantastic. On Spotify is fantastic. Social media, fantastic. Have we got room to leap into the stars? Of course we do. But as we stand, we're bloody fantastic because we're an awesome podcast. So when it came to numbers of this meetup, we obviously, the three of us were there being chaotic in the room, lots of space, cartwheeling before everyone got there. And there was actually a line of people waiting for us to actually even open the doors, which in itself is like fantastic. So these people come in, and then just before we get started, we're like, oh, we'll do that thing where let's wait a couple moments before more people to come in. More people came in, and then we got started because we were like, well, we can't wait forever. Thankfully, throughout doing the presentation, a few people kept wandering in, and it was so lovely because that means they saw our big COAGG sign, they saw Doom talking, and they were like, let me come on in. That's awesome. Anyway. So my story here is Doom actually asked the craziest question. She said to a room full, and I mean that meeting room was full. So at that time, there was probably about 30 people because not everyone wanted to be in the photo, and that's okay. And I counted in our photo 25 people. I did. Not everyone wants to be on photos. Not everyone wants to be on social media. That's totally fine. So I reckon that room easily had over 30 people. It was getting really, really full.
Yeah.
And she said to the room full of people, who has actually listened to Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast? And you know what? One person raised their hand. One woman raised her hand so enthusiastically. She was so excited.
She was fabulous.
I do. It was phenomenal.
And she loves it.
She does. She was really, really cool to talk about after. Anyway, one person raised their hand. So in essentially a Confessions of a Gamer Girl hosted environment, 30 plus people, one person said they actually listened to the podcast. Now, this relates back to Doom and her numbers. So in my head, I'm like, I hope she doesn't get upset about this number because one person out of all these people listened to our podcast. But do you know what? In that moment, I was so excited that all of these people had never listened to our podcast.
No, I know. Yeah.
Because not only have these people come in knowing, well, obviously advertised that it's women in gaming, and there was men there, there was non-gender identifying people there. There was more than just women that came into our environment. They saw that there was we had a massive podcast sign. So whoever knows, if you don't know what's going on, you just look in and see Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast. You don't know what we're talking about. These people entered the room after we started talking. So we've attracted these more people. And so out of all these folk that's sitting in this room right now, we had so many new ears listening to us. We had so many new faces so excited for us. I think that was amazing. And after we had done the presentation, explained how the podcast came about, our experience with everything, and you introduced us to do all the mingling stuff. The amount of people I got to talk to was so amazing. And these sorts of people, I had decent discussions with folk that were so passionate about Dungeons and Dragons, and I've played it once or twice. I obviously know about it. Some of my best friends are super into it, but it's not really my thing. But sitting down and chatting to these people who didn't know each other, there was 5 of us on a table, only 2 of them knew each other. We were just talking about a general hobby, and that in itself was beautiful. And then I moved to another table and they were like, how are you? I've seen you from, Instagram. And now I can introduce you to the other girls. And so we got so much reach from that meetup. And dare I say, it is so much better for us to talk to people, to network with people, to just soak up each other's awesomeness, to have one person out of 30 to have listened to our podcast rather than 29 people and one person hasn't. So as a woman that loves her numbers, I just really hope that you weren't disappointed that only one person raised their hand.
No. I wasn't. The only reason why I asked that wasn't from a numbers perspective. That was just because I had this whole speech about, thank you for, supporting us, having common goals, blah, 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 blah. But I was talking to a brand new set of people. And I'm like, if I have to catch them up on everything, otherwise they're going to be like, why is this brunette lady crying about women in gaming? Because they don't know where it's come from, I suppose. And look, conflicting schedules, lots of things to do. I do get it. Yes, I needed to give them the law to kind of explain where we're coming from.
Of course.
Yes. But Ellie, I completely agree with you. The potential in that room for genuine connection was dope. It was honestly, it was fire. and perhaps I do need a law QR code. I'll film it. So if anyone wants to know, be like, why is this crazy lady like, saying that, talking about statistics about women in gaming, then they'll know that. But overall, honestly, I spoke to so many women, young women, older women, non-binary, trans, femme-identifying people, and they just wanted to connect. And I was genuinely blown away by some of the things that I not only heard from people, but just their enthusiasm for this kind of connection. And the only reason, and I'll tell you right now, the only reason why the numbers matter is because I have a lot of insecurity. I have a lot of insecurity about succeeding in this. I have a lot of insecurity about both yourself and anyone who comes onto my panel. Like, I'll let them down. It won't progress far enough, and then they'll leave. So that probably leans into a little bit of my own, work about fear of abandonment and all that kind of stuff.
No, that's totally valid.
It's got nothing to do with wanting to be famous or wanting to make money or anything like that. I honestly, I just didn't, yeah.
I think ambition is totally okay to have. I think that we ourselves are quite obsessed with greed in the way of society is obsessed with greed when it comes to fame and money, but it's not the end of the world. It's the exact same as wanting promotion at work. Like, honestly, if someone says, I want to go up a couple levels, I want this promotion, it's more money, it's more responsibility. That is exact same of you saying, I would love to get more views. I would love to get more sponsorships. I'd love to be just in the community more as a stronger podcast. Yeah. Exact same thing. So the ambition is absolutely fantastic and it's absolutely valid. So I don't think that it has to come from a place of insecurity. That's a driving factor of ambition, but I don't think that you should be looked down upon by anything sort of self-centered or narcissistic when it comes to wanting the best for this podcast. Because why else would you start a podcast and put it on the internet? Like, wouldn't you just record it yourself and keep it to yourself if you didn't want success?
Yeah, possibly.
Imagine if we did that. Imagine if we just yapped to your desktop. Your desktop would be so sick of us.
Look. Some people have a video diary. I'm not judging them. I will say every single person that has been welcomed into the COAGG family has always been incredibly supportive, and I thank every single person from the bottom of my heart. But look, good things take time. They really do, and I'm truly appreciative of the continued support of not only the people in our community, but also the higher ups in the gaming community that run these events. They always say yes to me and my hairy brain schemed ideas, like just whatever. But yes, I thank you. Thank you, Ellie. Ellie and Shaye are like the best cheerleaders ever, and they make me feel good.
I'm glad.
Thank you. I appreciate. Yes, the only person who is doubting my success is me. Thank you. Yes, I'm my worst enemy. Wonderful. Speaking of being your worst enemy, there's something that I wanted to talk a little bit about in regards to conventions. Now, going to conventions, I cosplay as myself. Like, I'm always myself, mostly because I can't afford to have 5 suitcases of cosplay and all the time all the skill to do that. But props to anyone who does. Love that for you. But I'm an older woman. I'm mature.
Woman.
I've had 2 kids.
This is a woman in her 30s, and a 50-year-old is looking down at you saying, "Older woman, pacha."
No, but look, if I were to compare myself with with other women, and unfortunately that's just something that women have a tendency to do.
Yeah.
Like, and even like, and I'll say it right here, right now, looking at our pictures together, like all I could think about was, why did I pick that outfit? Why do I look that certain way? Like, there was just, if I let myself have those thoughts, I would have like spiraled, but I didn't. I stopped myself because, despite all the insecurities about being a bigger person at conventions, you're dealing with obviously the physical nature of conventions. You're dealing with how close you are with other people. You're dealing with the amount of pictures that are being taken of you. You want to put your best self forward. And you know what? When I get sweaty, my hair goes frizzy. And you know what? It was a big old mess half the time in most of those photos. And I was like, are you serious? But I will say that I had to come back to this point of the fact that we represent us as a podcast. We represent a vast variety, and there's even more. There are so many different gamer girls out there, and they should be showcased more. All kinds of different types of gamers. And I don't think that I'm old, but I felt old by the end of the 3 days, and my little feetsies hurt, and I needed to have a little spa, and I had, why do I have blisters from shoes that are not new? Like, I felt a little bit like I was falling apart. And then, because I was having all these lovely conversations, I didn't film as much as I wanted to, and I didn't have a little camera person following me around. And then that led me to think, if the podcast was more successful, then I'd have all of these money to, pay for videographers at the event or photographers at the event. And anyway, what I'm saying is, if you're a person out there that looks back at your photos, or you were at the event and you were like, oh my God, I brought all the wrong clothes and I'm not feeling myself, I see you, and it's okay. Because I know that my experience, the people that I spoke with, the women that I spoke with, that was the thing that meant the most.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I think that especially at cons such as PAX, because if you do look, so I was wearing a skirt, and I'm a tall person with a tall torso, so we always have to pick clothes that fit our proportions. And because I've got a long torso, my waist is like really, really high. So if I wear like a normal person's skirt, like it's barely covering my tushy bum. So I had to wear like a skirt that would fit me. So it sat on my waist where I wanted to, and it came about halfway down my thigh, which I thought was quite short. And then I saw a lot of girls and women, I'm assuming they were women, let's call women over the age of 18 women, that had a lot shorter items on than I did, plus showing their tushy bums. And I was like, gosh, I thought my skirts were like quite short. For the Friday and the Saturday, I picked two of my favorite games, and I kind of dressed in honor of those characters. Thank you. The first day was the curator from the Dark Pictures anthology, which again, I know, I'm a nerd, I'm obsessed. And he's a man, so I went as a female version of that. I had a waistcoat, tie, button down, and a skirt. And then the second day, I went as Ada Wong from Resident Evil, and I just kind of dressed in the colors of those sorts of costumes, kind of what I thought they would wear as a casual, because I didn't want people taking photos of me. I get nervous, okay? I didn't want to cosplay. I just wanted to do PAX Bound, as I've mentioned.
PAX Bound. Yeah.
Over on my Instagram, I have PAX Bounds. So Sunday, I was like, I want to wear like a relaxed outfit, because I knew we had the COAGG meetup. I wanted to just relax. I wasn't there the whole day. I was only there half a day. So actually, funnily enough, I wore this cardigan in this exact style because I had to wear it to work today, because I'm like, oh my God, it's cute. And just a white kind of dress that almost looked Tennessee, a lot of people said. And
it looked very preppy.
I know. And it was the shortest thing I wore all weekend. I wasn't even like cosplaying. And there's a word that my friend used to describe me that I don't know if we can say on the podcast, but I was like, gosh, the shortest thing was wearing just like my casual outfit. That was the shortest thing. And cons are kind of a way to wear whatever the heck you want, because if we think about it, if we step back, a lot of game characters were made by men, and thus a lot of female game characters are drawn, created, designed quite sexily. And so we kind of have no choice. If a woman wants to properly cosplay, properly be accurate to the law, they kind of have to wear these skimpy, tushy bum showing booby outfits. There's no choice if you want to be exactly the same, which is what a cosplay is. So it makes total sense that things like PAX, Comic-Con, all of those sorts of gaming and pop culture conventions kind of create this body consciousness that we might not have had before, because there is younger women, thinner women, women that are meeting the conventional beauty standard of Australia and Western countries. They're always going to be there. They're always going to be hanging out. Of course, we're all nerds and dorks. That's fine. But they exist. And so it makes sense that there's people that don't reach these sorts of body standards or body appearances, that it can kind of make us feel not as pretty or as even valid in such an environment. And it is a pretty important conversation to have, because, like I said, these character designs, most of the time, not all of the time, most of the time are designed by blokes in what they want to see: tight outfits, cheeks, all of the above. And can be quite harmful to body appearances. But on the flip side as well, when it comes to men, like shoulders, biceps, tiny waist, massive legs, like they don't escape body types as well. And so
no, of course,
my heart goes out to a lot of people and a lot of genders, because it's not necessarily easy for anyone. I would just say there is more normal male characters than there are female characters.
Yeah. Look, I look, Ellie, that's a fantastically mature and insightful comment, because you're right. Like, walking around, you're seeing a lot of flesh, and look, I'm here for it. If you got it, flaunt it.
Amen.
Be proud of that. But I genuinely, like, I suppose I didn't realize that was happening on such a subconscious level, that, and I'm usually okay with myself. Like, I personally have 2 daughters, and they both have different body types, even though they're so young, and I'm trying to teach them how to embrace their uniqueness and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, like on a subconscious level, I suppose you're right. And yeah, you've really got me thinking there. Thank you, Ellie. You've broken my brain. Wonderful.
Mind blown.
Mind blown. Jack with the Fingers is actually, who's wonderful, love him, that said that he's seen a lot of masculine content creators talk about feeling body dysmorphia this year. And yeah, I feel like it's usually a topic that comes up for women, like women complaining about, like they're not thin enough, or, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it can definitely happen for men as well. And I don't know,
of course.
And I think maybe, I don't know if it's in combination with aging, or comparing like what they used to look like in the past, or but I feel like what's the word? The gaming stereotype with men is usually that they're overweight, neck beard, and they live in their mum's basement, like a sweaty, that's where sweaty gamer comes from, right?
Yeah.
And so for women, if you're if you're not the dream gamer girl, whatever that is, like, yeah, like you will get ridiculed because you're like, oh well, you play video games because you're lazy, not because that's like an accepted hobby for women. So yeah, I think that's probably where I was coming from that point of view. But I can definitely see
totally.
why some men would feel like, oh, like I'm going out to these places, I want to look my best, and then just not feeling comfortable in their skin.
Yeah, I think there's a stereotype that comes with it as well, like just like you were saying, because if you think about it, there's the hot gamers, which you look at like thin, because that's obviously what is the beauty standard, especially in Australia or Western countries. It's like thin, beautiful, charismatic, and will accept a bit of flirty. That's sort of like the ideal streamer or women in gaming. And then you have the dudes, which is like healthy, charismatic, funny, flirty, good looking. And then you have the majority of Australians. When you look at the majority and the average body type, like I think the average size of a woman now is like a size 16 in Australia. Like average, smack down the middle is on the side of a thicker woman. And so times are changing. Not everyone is going to hold a particular body type. And I get that it's just society. Like society is like, if you're not a woman that is appealing to men and a man's view, then
the male gaze.
You're not necessarily the male gaze. You're not necessarily good enough. And if you're not a man that is a sexy little thing that a woman can lust over, then you're a dork that's not worth a woman's time. So I think both genders on that respect have obstacles to overcome to be taken seriously within the community, because at the end of the day, like gamers are not exempt on looks. We're not exempt on the beauty standard. We're not exempt on social cues, because Lord knows we forget a couple of social cues here and there. But representation doesn't exclude anyone's emotions. Not everyone is represented. Like how many dad bods are there? And I use the term dad bods because that's probably most socially acceptable than saying like an unfit middle-aged man that we have in gaming gods. No. It's like Mr. Big Shoulders, Mr. Bulky Biceps. That's kind of like the average man that you get. Look at Fortnite. Look at Mass Effect. Look at Halo. Like that's the sort of body types that you have. And then for the women, you have a bit of a bigger chest. You have a smaller waist. You have slender legs. All of the above with those sorts of games, those sorts of skins. Like that's what we see. So I think in gaming, there's a far, far way to go with the representation and matching a lot of countries' averages, not beauty standards. We've done that, babe. We've done that. We need averages. We need people to feel okay and beautiful in their own skin, in which men and women and gender non-conforming people should feel safe and happy and within their own skin. But
I'm bloody trying. But I tell you, when I'm sweating, and it was so hot in PAX.
So hot in there.
Okay, I'm so glad a small person is saying that, because it was so hot in there, and I was like walking, and I'm like, babe, like my watch is saying, are you working out? No, I'm just living.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get to this panel on time. I've got this meetup and people keep talking to me. There was just nothing worse than it was just so compounded. And like I'm seeing what did you call the bottoms? That I'm seeing bottoms.
Bums.
Yeah. And I'm just like, and all I wanted was a frog pin from generosity. Anyway, if you felt that way, you are not alone.
Totally. Totally.
There is a lovely comment from one of our newer community members, so welcome in. The one thing I felt was common in the meetup on Sunday was a lot of us being neurospicy, and that it was nice to meet fellow ladies who were like me, regardless of what they looked like. That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear.
Totally.
Look, even if we're not neurospicy, our hormones are betraying us. Okay, there's always something going on in there, and I think I think I've always tried to bring kindness and understanding everywhere that I've gone. So, and I think that's one thing that all of the people that not only came to our meetup, but they were also at the panels that I was at. Yeah, and it was a really nice event, and
It was.
I was just in my head about a lot of things, whether it be about the podcast, about what I look like or whatever. And yeah, I wanted to put that out there and share with everyone, because you weren't alone in that. But I'll probably look back on these experiences when I'm like 80 years old, and I'll be like, damn, like she was out there, she was representing women that look like her, and she was doing a great job. Sweating like a pig though. But
oath. Like I was in you saw me on Sunday. I was in this cardigan, the tiniest mini skirt, mini dress. The second I walked into PAX, I was like, I'm sweating. Like, I'm so glad that I wore deodorant. Like, I'm so hot right now. But you do cool down. I think it's almost like because you're power walking to the exhibition center and you're queuing up and you're getting into places. It's almost like your body's like, oh, we're stressed. But then the second you get in there, it's like, okay, we can calm down now. But it does take like 5 to 10 minutes for your body to like full on regulate.
Acclimatize.
But honestly, like I think PAX is one of those things that I look forward to every single year.
Oh, yeah.
It was my first year as a content creator, which is absolutely fantastic. And I was so excited that I was almost nervous that it wasn't going to live up to the hype that I had given it. I was like, oh, look, it's something that I look forward to. I go, because I obviously I'm Melbourne-based. I say that all the time. I'm Melbourne-based. I get an Airbnb in the city, so I get to go away for a couple of days. I rent a place with friends, so we get to hang out. It's so beautiful, it's so lovely, and so it's just a weekend away, and I get nervous that I get so excited because I'm like, it's just not going to live up to the hype. Like I'm so excited for a weekend that's probably going to flop. That I came away so energized and so full, like my heart was so full that I got to meet so many people I connected with, so many followers. Obviously meeting you and Shaye in person, because for those who don't know, we live in 3 different states. It's always so lovely. And even when we see each other, obviously because we chat multiple times a week, it feels like we hang out more often. I don't know about you, but I don't, we don't feel like strangers. I mean, I've known you for over a year now in person, almost 2 years, that it doesn't feel bizarre. Even with Shaye, I've technically only met Shaye in person twice now, and it doesn't feel bizarre. Like we're so comfortable with each other. So it's that dynamic is really lovely because we can bring that into the meetups, and all 3 of us are quite introverted, extroverted, so we can chat anyone's bloody ear off. Hence, we've got a podcast. And it was just really, really lovely. And I expected to kind of walk away on Sunday Arvo and feel depleted. The only downside was Monday evening. It really hit me. And I stream on Twitch on Monday nights. I play games, and it hit like dinner time Monday night. And I'm like, I am like seeing stars. Like, do I stream? Do I not stream? And then it got to the point where Tiny Bestie had gone down quite late, and I was just like, I physically don't have it in me. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cancel and just go straight to bed. So
you weren't the only one. I saw a number of people.
Right. It hit like, Monday night. Like Monday night, it hit everyone like a freight train. And it was beautiful that it hit Monday and not Sunday. So fantastic weekend. I genuinely cannot wait till next year, because someone asked me today, was this PAX as best as my first PAX? And I was like, you know what, babe, it gets better every year. Like this year has been my favorite so far, and I hope next year tops it.
Me too. And it probably will, like, but again, like you say, I get to travel on an airplane, so I get to overthink like for 3 hours, about, is this going to, it's great. It's fantastic. So yeah, I genuinely, every single year has gotten better. I've gotten better. I've grown. I've been doing lots of stuff. And yeah, I love doing panels. I love presenting to people. If I look back, like there was like a couple of things that I would change if I could, but that's okay. That's all part of the journey, and that's learning. I don't know, maybe Ellie and Shaye will, I don't know, if you want to do a panel, I don't know. You could
That would be fun
something.
doing a panel. Imagine yapping in front of more
it's great.
people.
And they come there because they're
Phenomenal.
interested in your yapping. That topic. It's great.
Oh, we need to pick a topic. You know that meme that's going around at the moment? It's like, I've changed my mind. Don't worry, put your clothes back on. We're actually talking about this. Have you seen that meme?
Yes, I have.
I feel like that would be us. It's like, never mind, put your clothes on. We're here to talk about women in gaming. This was not a naked panel. Put your clothes back on. We're having fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, because obviously I do control and empower, and I feel like I'm probably going to run that. I'm going to run with that. I feel like it'll probably come back because it got really, really great feedback on it, and I'm sure they know that. And yeah, I mean, it would be cool to have you guys on, but we literally talk about that every week. So it's like, how can I bring like a fresh spin on things? So yeah, lots of things to think about for the future, as our future is bright and so is yours.
That's it.
Yeah. Yay. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being so social in the chat tonight, guys. It's been absolutely fantastic. And wherever you're listening from, if you attended PAX, I hope it was lovely and you met up with all your friends and traveled safe. And if you're like, what the heck is PAX? Go and Google it, or I'll put it in the description for you so you can go and have a look. Once again, thank you so much to PAX Oz for having us. And we will see you all next week for another episode of Confessions of a Gamer Girl. Bye, everyone.
Heck yeah. Bye.
See ya.